you put to death in your guillotine in the back room, you see? So, this idea of mercy killing, it's a fact some people do say, yes, go ahead and kill me, but they don't understand the laws of karma, what they're going to get for their suicide. The karma they're going to get is becoming a ghost. So actually, people, the thing is, if an animal is suffering, do everything you can to make him comfortable, and let that poor creature hear the holy name. Get a CD that has a repeat mode on it. Let him hear the holy names. You see? Just like we have our ISCALP, our ISCAN protection farm, all the Bundapur. When the old cows and bulls, when they get arthritic and they're suffering, do they kill them? No. They'll put on a tape and let the cow hear the holy name, so he can die hearing the holy name. Gunda the bull just passes by. He's a 19-year-old bull. He was born and raised in ISKCON the whole way. He never was outside. He was born in ISKCON and he died in ISKCON. 19 years he served our movement. The bull. And they gave him very nice, even though he was in suffering conditions, they terminate him. No. Let him, give him Krishna consciousness. Let him hear the holy name. He's an animal. The animal benefits greatly from hearing the holy name. Let the animal hear the holy name and die in Krishna consciousness. Some kind of purified state. Let's see. Love, explode Krishna. When do I know? I don't quite understand the question, but I can guess. When do I know that I truly love Krishna? We could say that. When you have absolutely no desires for any type of material sense gratification, subtle or gross, that's a sign that your Krishna consciousness is truly awakening. That's a sign. Described in the Bhagavatam like that. How to understand that Krishna is the cause of everything, that he has no cause himself. Everything has a cause and nothing comes from nothing. Yes, Krishna doesn't come from nothing. You know where Krishna comes from? This is described by Lord Brahma. In a verse he actually describes where Krishna comes from. Ramadni Murti Shakalani Amenatishtan Na Navatarana Makarod Vimanishakintu Krishnasvayam Samavavat Paramakpumanyo Govindamadi Purisham Dhamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna. Krishna came from Govinda. So Krishna is self-manifest. He didn't come out of nothing, he came out of Govinda, who is he himself. So Krishna didn't come out of nothing, he came out of Krishna. He's self-manifested. He came out of somewhere besides himself, then that something else would be God, not him. How easy it was. Some people argue that if God existed or created the universe, then the scientists would know. What keeps science from accepting the spiritual science? Okay. Actually, the New York Times has just come out recently with an article, the Sunday Times, it's called the Sunday Review. And in this article in the New York Times, they're saying how science is not getting it right. There was something like 53 landmark scientific discoveries regarding cancer. And some scientists went in and tried to redo the experiments, and only 6 out of the 53 actually came out successful. The other 3, the other bombed. They couldn't replicate it. It wasn't verifiable by peer review, as they would say in their terminology. So this article is saying the same thing that Sariputta and Buddha Karmaprabhu was saying. This knowledge filter. They take their preconceived ideas and they manipulate the data to support their idea, what they think the truth should be. They don't objectively analyze the data. They bring their own prejudice in, and they take whatever data supports their preconceived idea and reject the data which does not support their preconceived idea. So this is called empirical science, and it's based on imperfect senses and speculation. These men are not, they're not actually true scientists. When I had a preaching center in Norman, Oklahoma back in the early 80s, my next door neighbor was a physics PhD candidate. He was studying in the physics department to get his physics PhD. And he told me, that they, he said when they go for the government grants, they cheat. They lie and they cheat to get money out of the government about what they're doing in their research. So it's really a power and prestige game. It's not true science. What they call science is a power and prestige game. There's a lot of big money that comes. Governments give big money for the scientists. There's big prestige, there's power, and there's money. And that they're greedy for it. These men are greedy for power and wealth. They're not true scientists. If there are some true scientists out there, then they are suppressed. There's like there's one gentleman, Rupert Sheldrake. You probably know Rupert Sheldrake. Yeah. He's openly exposing a lot of this stuff that's going on, and he's being ostracized by the mainstream scientific community. He's from that community, and he has very high credentials. I forget, was it biological research or something?
I think he's biochemist.
Biochemistry. He's very renowned biochemist, but he's showing the fallacy of science. He calls it dogma. He shows how science is, what they call science is actually dogma. It's dogmatic. And he's being ostracized by he's fighting it, but he's being very heavily ostracized right now by the scientific community. He's fighting it. He's trying to muster all the support he can get. I sent him an email giving him some good arguments. I tried to help him a little bit, whatever I could, because he's got a lot of good arguments. He's not completely lined up with Prabhupada, but many of the things he says are the same points that Prabhupada is making on on Venice Beach. In that Life Comes from Life book, he's making many of the same points that Prabhupada is making. So it's a very good sign that people like that, who have all their credentials, as a biochemist, he's coming out and saying the same thing that Prabhupada is saying. It's very, very good. So, these scientists, they should know, but they don't. I remember there was one song that many years ago. It's hard to teach a caveman what's outside his cave is real. And it's, how that line go? And it's hard to show something that men have no humility.
It's hard to teach a monkey something.
Yeah. It was a very nice song many years ago, or Mangalananda Prabhu recorded it. It's hard to teach a caveman that outside his cave is real. And it's the greatest something of all is the absurdity of trying to teach something to men who have no humility. The whole point was they're not humble. Yeah, they're not humble. That's the reason the scientists are blocked. Unless you're humble, you can't get transcendental knowledge. Unless you're humble, you can't go beyond your imperfect senses. You see, as long as you remain proud, yes, I'm great. I'm the center. As long as you remain proud, you can't realize higher truth. That's the problem. These men are proud. They're proud. And if they're humble, some of them are humble. Just like Dr. Wald, George Wald, was it? George Wald, he was a big physicist. Dr. Wald, he had some humility, and he became, actually there was a big confrontation between, he did a presentation back in the early 70s at the University of Florida, and our temple president, Amarendra, went there and challenged him. That what comes first, matter or consciousness? He was saying that consciousness is just a product of material combination. So Amarendra publicly challenged him in front of all the students. They had a debate. And the whole huge auditorium, Amarendra stood up and challenged them. They were debating back and forth. But then a few years later, because he had some genuine humility, this man actually became very good friends with Dr. R. Sarub Damodar Maharaj. He became very much appreciating our Bhaktivedanta Institute. And later on he came and did a program at the University of Texas, and he saw some devotees in the audience. He said, our friends from the Hare Krishna movement are here. He announced to all the people. And so, if they have humility, they will actually appreciate this Krishna consciousness movement. Bhakti Swami used to say that one has to, or should die in order to live. Can you explain the concept? Sure. You have to, sannyas means death, civil death. You have to give up all your material. Of course, we're not saying you all should take sannyas. I'm not saying that. But the principle is the same. You have to give up, just like when just like I've given up all of my material conceptions of identity. I don't use my karmi name except for legal purposes. Now I'm Sankarsana Das. I'm not Stephen Bridge, you see. I don't think I'm Stephen Bridge. I just know that I'm using that for, Prabhupada has designated me Sankarsana Das. So that's who I actually am. I'm Sankarsana. So you have to give up your material conception of who you are and think that you're a member of a particular family, a particular nation, that you're of a particular gender. You see, you have to give up all these bodily identifications. This is confirmed by Rupa Goswami. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tatpadat vena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchate. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1:1-2. One should be free from all material designations. They're called upadhis. Upadhi. Upadhi. Sarvapadi means all. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam. Give up all these. Become liberated from all of these material designations. That's the depth that my godbrother Bhakti Tirtha Swami was talking about. Become free from all material designations. Things that are not connected with Krishna, not about Krishna, like TV, movies, politics, etc., make no sense to me. They annoy me. Even people who do not care about Krishna seem annoying, and I cannot be around them for a long time. Jai, all glories to your advancement, your spiritual advancement. Does it mean that I become like extremist or sectarian? No. Does it mean that I'm advancing in Krishna consciousness? Yes. The more you become disinterested in mundane things that are not directly connected with Krishna, you're not becoming sectarian, you're becoming liberated soul. Iha yasha herer dashe karmana manasa gira nikalas vapyabastasu jivan mukta sa uchate. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1. No, excuse me, 1:2, 187. Yeah, 1:2, 187. One who engages his body, karmana manasa gira. Karmana means by your activities. Karmana, his actions, karmana, manasa, the mind, thoughts, you see, gira, one's speech. One who engages body, mind, and will in the service of Krishna becomes jivan mukta, even in all conditions of material existence. So you can become a liberated soul. Doesn't matter whether you're living in the temple, whether you're living outside, whether you're a man's body, a woman's body, white body, black body, Indian body, it doesn't matter. You see, if you engage in devotional service, you become a liberated soul. to be free from this, all the sectarianism of this material world. You will not, you're not, are you an extremist? No. We are moderatists. Moderatists. We are not extremists. Krishna consciousness is moderation. It's everything in proper balance. You see, everyone else is an extremist. And there are the moderatists and the extremists. The devotees are the moderatists, and the non-devotees are the extremists. They are unbalanced. What is that balance? That is described in Sri Upanishad, mantra number 11. Vidyat vidyam yashtad vedo bayam saha. You see, avidyadam ritam kirva, vidyatam ritam ashnute. Only that person who is a moderatist, who is balanced in his material and spiritual duties, can become free from the chains of birth and death. Only the moderatists, not the extremists, who are going to one side or the other, you see. The Mayavadis, they're extremists. They say, I have nothing to do with this matter, it's false. They're another type of extremist. The Karmi is an extremist, I'm his body. He's totally balanced on the material side, with no spirituality, genuine spirituality. He's an extremist. The Jnani is also an extremist. I'm not this body, the material world is false, it's really false. He's also an extremist. But the Vaishnava, he is perfectly balanced. It's confirmed in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu again. I love that. I'm always quoting that, it's so nice. Anasta taksha vishayam yatartma payunjaraha yamanna krishna sambandhe yukam vairagyam uchyate prapancha kritya buddha hari sambandhi vastanaha mumukshivi padityako palu vairagyam katyate. This is true balance, you see. One who is not attached to anything, but at the same time accepts everything in relation with Krishna, is properly situated in moderation. On the other hand, the extremist who rejects everything, not seeing its relationship with Krishna, he is imperfect and incomplete in his renunciation. So the Mayavadis, they're extremists, you see. And the Karmi are also extreme. The devotee, he is the moderatist. He's perfectly situated in moderation. He sees everything as the energy of Krishna, and he engages everything in Krishna's service. He is perfect in moderation. Oh, I can't read English. Translate it for me.
Is it possible to develop taste for the holy name in this life?
Okay. Is it possible to develop faith in the holy name in this life?
Taste.
Well, taste. Okay. Now that depends on you, how determined you are. If you're not very determined, you're more inclined to just go on enjoying your material senses. You probably never get it in this life. You have to wait for another life. See that, of course, there is taste, but then taste in the highest sense is the ruchi stage. It's a very high level of Krishna consciousness. But even now, we can get a little glimmer of ruchi as neophyte devotees. So that we can get a small amount of taste, and just by hearing the kirtan, by tasting prashadam, we can definitely get taste. Now, can we achieve the ruchi stage, which means beyond when one is actually self-realized and all the narjas are removed from the heart? That's the ruchi stage, where there's practically no interruptions whatsoever of your Krishna consciousness ever. There's hardly at all even a nanosecond. It's just very, very rare that your mind is ever diverted away from Krishna. It's possible to stay that also. If one follows the pathway, takes initiation, seriously follows the vows, it's possible to achieve the ruchi stage, which is one step away from from asakti, when one's love of God actually So it is possible to get to that stage. If you take initiation and you follow your spiritual master and you follow Srila Prabhupada very, very sincerely, very carefully, very dedicatedly, yes, absolutely possible. What is the best way to develop a strong relationship to Srila Prabhupada? You have to follow his instructions. It's so wonderful. His books are just chock full of unlimited nectarian instructions. Read Prabhupada's books and follow Prabhupada's books. At the same time, dedicate your life to serving Prabhupada's movement. Prabhupada is present in the form of his books. He's also present in the form of ISKCON. And here you have your ISKCON temple. So if you dedicate yourself to the ISKCON temple here to make it a grand success, that will give the greatest pleasure to Srila Prabhupada. So the more you please him, the more your relationship improves with him. The more you can, that's what they told me when I joined. They said, you want to advance? They said, actually they said, you want to advance, you have to please Srila Prabhupada. No, how do I please him? But then I heard the Gravastikam prayer, number 4. And the spiritual master is pleased when he sees the devotees taking Bhagavad Prasadam. Jai! So, you want to please Prabhupada? There's Prasadam being served out in a few minutes. Honor the Prasadam with great relish. And by honoring Prasadam with great relish, day after day after day after day after day, week after week, month after year, honoring Prasadam not as some food, but as a spiritual energy, as Krishna himself manifests in the form of those foodstuffs. If you will, in a reverential mood, you honor Prasadam, I guarantee you, just by honoring Prasadam, you develop a strong relationship with Prabhupada. It's all and then that will lead to everything else too, chanting, regulated principles, and it will all come, initiation, bhajana kriya, anartana vritti, ruchi, sakti, bhava, and prema, it will all come. You just be very dedicated devotee of Prasadam. And you'll go all the way to the top. It'll all come. Jivado, it all begins with the tongue. Rupa Goswami said, Jivado. First thing is your tongue. So Vishnujan Swami, considering this point, Vishnujan Swami asked Prabhupada. I heard a person, he said, Vishnujan Maharaj. He said, I asked Prabhupada, if all he wanted to do was he was the temple commander in LA when he was a brahmachari. Vishnujan Das Brahmachari, the temple commander in Los Angeles. So he said, Prabhupada, if all they want to do is take Prasadam, is that okay? They don't do anything, they just want to take Prasadam. It's the only service they want to do is take Prasadam. Prabhupada said, yes, as long as they chant Hare Krishna between each bite. So if you will chant Hare Krishna between each bite and take Prasadam to your full satisfaction every day, then your relationship with Prabhupada will develop, and you'll become a Paramahamsa. You will see Krishna face to face in due course of time. You'll personally associate with Krishna, and your original identity will come. And then you have 5 primary rases, spiced up by 7 secondary rases. Everybody is one of the 5 primary, but then the 7 secondary, they're like spices in the chutney. The secondary rases are the spice up the primary. Everybody is situated in the primary rasa with Krishna, and then you get the secondaries to spice it up and make it more interesting. So our questions have run out, and maybe Prasadam is getting ready now, speaking about Prasadam. So, let me check with the kitchen and see what is going on. Any last question? All right. So, yes.
Completely different thing, but I was just wondering how you managed to answer so many letters, so many questions, because I think that sometimes I get a question here and there from a new person, And I think it takes so a long time to answer questions. So how, I have heard that you answer so many questions every day.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I take help from Krishna. I'm just a fool and a rascal, really. Yeah. I'm not a very intelligent person, really. I'm not very smart. I'm not a great sense. I'm not a great Goswami. I'm not a great master of my senses. I don't have much. But one thing I do have is I have very strong faith in Prabhupada, and I have very strong faith in the absolute nature of his teachings, and I have faith that Krishna can help me. And Krishna is one of the. Much of what I've learned about our philosophy is realizations I get when I answer questions. That's why I love the questions. Throw them all at me from all angles. Because I've found ever since I was a new devotee that a lot of what I've learned and realized is things, you go out, you go there to answer questions, you're out on a limb. Well, I don't know what to say. But Krishna, from in the heart, will boom. You just throw the answer, I just spit it out. Basically, Krishna gives me the answers, and in this way I've realized so many things about our philosophy just by putting myself in a position where I have to answer questions. And in other words, when I answer questions, I have to connect this person with Krishna. You see, questions are. It's my duty to somehow connect this person with Krishna, so they're absolutely convinced that they have to fully surrender to Krishna.
And your book is coming out. Your book is coming out with the question and answers.
Well, you're having a book coming out soon. It's called Truth Works. The questions and answers from like 4 years of my e-course. It'll be coming out soon in a nice deluxe hardbound edition. So maybe, we'll hopefully by the time I come in next year, those books will be available. We're just waiting for the cover. The cover designer's got a little spaced out. The whole book is all ready, but the cover, we're just waiting for the cover to be finished so it can be printed. Nice hardbound, very nice hardbound book. Truth Works, Part 1. Because truth works, you see. If it's true, it has to work. If it's not true, it doesn't work. So Krishna consciousness works. It liberates you from all anxiety. It takes you out of distress. It takes you out of the cycle of birth and death. Krishna consciousness. Truth works in a very sutra-like way, you see. How do you know Krishna consciousness is true? What do you tell him? Truth works. You see? I know Krishna consciousness is the absolute truth because truth works. It's practical. It does the job. You see. When I chant Hare Krishna, I feel how I'm being liberated from this material world. I feel how I'm being elevated in the transcendental kingdom of the Supreme Lord, you see. In this way. Truth works. Yes, Prabhu.
I want to ask, because you're traveling so much and have so many connections.
You're traveling so much and you have so many connections?
That if you believe we can really change the world into a Krishna conscious.
Can we make the world Krishna conscious?
Some devotees say Kali will always go on and we will always be on the side. And actually,
not possible to change the world.
Preaching so many years, but where the change is, how many people are taking.
The question is it possible or is it impossible to change the world? Well, Prabhupada actually said both things. It's interesting. Prabhupada said it's both things, Prabhupada said. So, but I'm actually a product of the 60s. And, hey, we were idealists back then, you know. We were into this peace and love revolution, you know. And we were convinced we were going to change